So I'm here with Brad Randall, president of Welch Randall Property Management. Brad has tried to implement workflow software in the past. I think you did it on your own. You tried to make it happen. Would you call that a failure?
100%. Like,
What?
no question. So I'm the owner of the company. And what happens is you come to a conference like this and you see 5 shiny new toys that any operator is like, I want this, I want this, I want this, because it is a good thing. But then I also have the false belief that I can implement all of those things. So I wanted to implement a process software and brought it back to my team and said, okay, if I'm going to own this, I will be in charge of it. So that's problem number one, is the implementer of the processes really should not be, in my opinion, the owner or the operator. Like, you need to have someone own that is separate.
Why is that?
Because I get, in any given day, the owner or the operator from a strategic standpoint is meant to be focused on that. And so the more time you are spending implementing these types of things, you're not doing it consistently to gain traction, but also you're missing out on what your team really needs you to be doing, which is saying, where are we going 3, 6, 9, 12 months from now, and how does this fit into our ultimate strategy? We literally paid for a process software for 15 months that went through our account based on our door count, and I would see it on the same day every month go through, and it was this constant reminder that's like, we're not doing this.
Not using this.
So we got to a point where we said, A, it's not me. B, we got to come to find somebody that can help.
Yeah. Okay. And so then we got to talking about that, and we have a process called data-driven process design, where we do done-for-you process software implementations. And what would you say has been the result so far, and what's been the biggest difference in the done-for-you profit coach approach versus the do-it-yourself approach with your team?
So I think the biggest difference we've seen is, A, it's happening. And a process that is going is better than 50 processes talked about. And so I'm a firm believer that action will drive further progress, but just continuing to churn does nothing. And so, A, your program got us to take action. B, we have a team buy-in on this now that we did not have before. And part of that is your onboarding. You had a roadmap for us that said, here's who's going to be involved. This is where we're going to go day one. This is what's going to happen. Here's the time commitment. And at the end, this is where we want you to be. I did not have that when I was trying to implement it on my own. And unless you have that type of, I think, just clear direction, you are setting yourself up to more than likely end up kind of wavering with implementing it. So for us, our team is the team that's using it, which is pretty much everyone. They are much more on board with it this time than they ever were with me doing it on my own.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And looking out into the future, what sort of impact do you feel like having all of these processes built out and followed by all your team, what sort of impact do you feel like that's going to have on your operation?
So here's our plan with it, is we have 8 processes that we built as a base. And those processes we're now going to bleed into operational standards that our team members own. But the problem is without the processes in place, our ability to track certain KPIs that our team members are trying to achieve to help us stand out from our competition goes down. And so we are using this as a jumping off point to say, okay, now we're here. Now what we need to do is use these processes to highlight why our services are so needed for the clientele that we're targeting.
Yeah.
So it's given us that extra boost. This is not the end game for us. This is just we're starting from here, and it's moving us towards the next step of our strategic path.
We'd like to call that data-driven differentiation. Property management can often be viewed by retail investors, by accidental landlords, as a commodity. We all do the same thing. We just charge different fees. If you get to that place, really all you're competing on is price. You're not competing on value. But when you can measure and track and actually communicate value creation to owners, you can compete on value creation and be able to charge an appropriate fee and charge appropriate, management fees
Yeah.
without feeling like you're, just sticking somebody with a fee, because you know that the value behind it is real and it's better than your competitors.
Yes. Well, and there's markets where you may be, it's a race to the bottom in the sense because there's not a lot of competition. But in our market, I can name 10 to 15 operators that are here right now that I feel fully comfortable sending a referral to.
You have a strong market.
So if you're in a stronger market, you want to find any way that you can say, yeah, these are things that we do, but this is why we do them, and this is how it adds value to you. And I feel like this was a huge jumping off point for us to kind of keep going down that path, what we're trying to achieve. I met with Profit Coach 5 times, and I love you guys. Like, this has nothing to do with me not trusting the process, no pun intended, but it is a chunk of change. We are used to, in our market, X amount per month or X amount per door. And this is a much larger upfront investment. Having said that, the investment is this, but the payback on it also comes quicker. So you can do it poorly over time or not as effectively over time, and you may spend less, but the return of what you're trying to get also takes longer. So for us, when I look at the expense that we paid, yes, you kind of do one of those like, all right, this is more than what I'm used to.
Sure.
It's a little uncomfortable, but the value was already, it was there quickly, and it will continue to be there for us.